Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to see another tutorial on Jenkins. In our previous videos we have seen how to set up our first Jenkins job, and also we have created our own GitLab for integrating with Jenkins. In today's tutorial we will be integrating the GitLab with Jenkins. We will pull the code from GitLab and run the build. In the build trigger, we will understand how we can make use of Periodic Build, Poll SCM and Webhook to trigger the build when there is a commit in GitLab. If you have not seen my previous videos, kindly check those. Request you to subscribe to my channel and like the video. I am using Docker to run Jenkins. You can see the Jenkins container running. I have mapped the Jenkins home to local location /var/Jenkins, where the Jenkins configurations and workspaces are stored. If you want to know how to set up Jenkins using Docker, kindly check my video on the same. Let me log into local instance of GitLab, create a new project and upload the source code. You can also use the public GitLab or GitHub. I am using my own installed instance of GitLab for this tutorial. The first step for Git integration with Jenkins to make sure you have Git installed on the Jenkins server. Before I get into Jenkins instance running on Docker, let me show you the error which you will get if Git is not installed and when you try to connect to Git through Jenkins. This error is shown from Jenkins instance running on Windows. This is the Docker Jenkins instance and we will check out the Git details under Global Tools Configurations. If you don't have Git installed, Install Git using yum install Git in CentOS, and for Windows you can download and install from Git website. Now let's create our Jenkins job and use GitLab project. We will pull the code from GitLab and run the source code first project in shell. We have configured the Jenkins to pull the code from GitLab and the build will run the code. Now let's configure the build trigger, so that we don't have to run the build now manually. We are going to look mainly periodic build, in which we will define cron job to run the code in every 1 minute. The other option is poll SCM, here also we will be using cron job, however in this case, the job will run in each cron duration to check the Git for any changes in the source code. Only if there is any changes identified the build will run. The last one is Webhook, which we will discuss in after configuring the other two. You can see that the build is run in every 1 minute. Irrespective of any changes in code or not, the build will run as per the defined cron duration. Check out the video description to know more about cron definitions. In Poll SCM, you can see that build is run only when we make changes to the source code and commit. As per defined duration, it will check the Git for any changes in the code. If there is no change, the build will not be run. Only if there is any modification to the code, the build will be started. Now let's make use of the webhook. Using the webhook, the build will be started automatically whenever we do a commit to the source code. So any developer make changes and do a commit, the build will be automatically triggered. Since we are using GitLab, we need to install the GitLab plugins to make use of webhook. Those who are using GitHub plugins are already installed and you can see the option. For using the webhook, we need to create the webhook in the GitLab. Go to Settings Integration and give the Jenkins project details and secret key to create the webhook. Follow along. Now let's test if the webhook is working fine. We can do a test push. Also we will try to modify the code and do a commit. Great, we are able to run the Jenkins build now using Webhook. Now you can decide whether you want to run your build every specified duration, or specified duration check for any changes in source code, or automatically start the build when there is a commit. If your Webhook is not working, log into the GitLab using root account and go to admin area. Make sure the settings for Webhook is enabled, and also you can give your Jenkins web to the whitelist details. Thank you for watching. I hope this tutorial is informative for you and you will be able to create your own Jenkins job and integrate with Git. Kindly subscribe to my channel, like the video and provide your comments.